Hey there, welcome to SI Now. It is Friday, December 30th, and I'm Maggie Gray. Tomorrow, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Washington will go head-to-head for the opportunity to play for a national championship on January 9th. Later in the show, we'll talk to the CEO of the Peach Bowl to hear how they are prepping for all those Tide fans, and Joe Namath will weigh in with a special message for his alma mater. But we start today with the pros. And our SI Now NFL analyst, Chris Canty, our own Ryan Aselta. Guys, I've crashed the man cave. I'm here for 4 downs.
Welcome.
I had to get one in before the end of the season. Today we're going to be looking ahead to 2017. And of course, it starts with quarterbacks. Chris, we're going to have some guys on the market. We're going to have teams that need to fill the role. Which retread quarterback do you think will have the highest value? That's our first down.
Well, I got to start with Tony Romo down in Dallas. He's got a big cap number in 2017. No way he's going to stay around in Dallas Cowboys as a backup quarterback. So I think he's got to find a place to land, and I think it's an organization like the Denver Broncos, a place that's familiar with having a veteran quarterback groom a younger quarterback. You saw what happened with Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler during the Super Bowl year. Gary Kubiak has a user-friendly offense, a lot of run game leading with that, being able to supplement that with play-action passes, bootlegs, things that fit Tony Romo's skill set. Just allow him to make the plays that are there in the passing game, not put too much on this quarterback right now, try to protect him. And, of course, you got a championship defense. So I think that Denver would be a good place for him.
What do we think? If that's a 1-year deal, 2-year deal?
Yeah, I mean, well, if Paxton Lynch waiting in the wings, you'd think Romo's probably 1 or 2 years, right?
Yeah, it has to be a 2-year deal just so they can spread the prorated signing bonus out over the course of a couple of seasons. They don't want a huge cap hit on a 1-year deal. So it'll be a couple of years, but it'll be a year-to-year type of situation for Tony Romo.
I'm going to bring up a guy who, I don't know if he has the most value, but I see a perfect fit, and that's Jay Cutler. Assuming he comes back healthy next season, I could see Jay Cutler in New York with the Jets. Repair him with Brandon Marshall. They had a lot of success together. Remember, Marshall, 2012, 2013 with Cutler, had 23 touchdowns those 2 years. So put them together. Clearly, the Jets' quarterback situation is kind of a mess. Bryce Petty doesn't look like he's the guy to step in. There's the reports about the Jets being on the North Carolina quarterback for next year, maybe drafting him. He's going to need some time to develop. So maybe Cutler in the same situation, not the quarterback of the future, guys, but for a year or two in New York, yeah, I could see it.
All right, you bring up the Jets. Fitzpatrick, is it going to be another season in summer of Fitzpatrick when we figure out where he's going to go? Probably not. I think Kirk Cousins is really going to dominate the conversation. I think Washington is going to have to pony up a lot to keep their quarterback, or else he's going to have plenty of suitors in the National Football League. Okay, second, third, and fourth down. We're looking ahead to 2017. And we want to make some changes. So, Chris, going philosophically, like things that you just want to see done differently by the NFL in 2017, what's one of them?
It's got to be the officiating. And I don't know if it's necessarily the NFL adding the 8th official or expanding instant replay to include certain infractions, certain penalties. And I get that there's a pace of play issue at hand. The NFL wants it to still be a quality entertainment product. But I think you've got to protect the integrity of the game and get the calls right on the field. And when they don't get it right, have the authority, have the power to be able to change it, have the communication between the officials and the league office, Dean Blandino and his staff, be more seamless so they can make sure that they can get these calls right, because there's so much riding on it. There are only 16 regular season games, and each game means so much. So they got to get the calls right. And they owe it to the fans, they owe it to the players, the members of the clubs, the coaches. Get the calls right, expand officiating, expand instant replay to include calls by the officials, or add an extra official, or some combination of the two. But that's got to get done.
Ryan, third down, what's the change you would want to make?
Well, besides getting Chris Canty to root for the Atlanta Falcons in 2017, which we know is not going to happen, here's what I want to happen. The NFL needs to get their act together. What I mean, guys, is get their house in order. Make some decisions on Thursday Night Football. Get the schedule sorted out so teams have the appropriate rest where we see some quality football. Get the referees in order, like Chris alluded to. Figure out what's pass interference, what's not. Figure out the London schedule, some kind of rotation so all the complaining can stop. There's a lot of noise from fans, critics of the NFL that have been complaining all year long, and it takes away from what we all really like to watch, and that's football. If we can get back to watching some actual football and less noise, I'll be a happy camper in 17.
We love to complain. All right, my fourth down is I hope in 2017, let's move the extra point back in, put it back at the 2-yard line, not at the 15. The kickers hate it. Fans despise it because it's no longer automatic for their team, and fantasy football owners are pulling their hair out when normally automatic kickers are now missing extra points left and right. I think it's bleeding over into them missing regular field goals. They can't get into a rhythm. I think it's actually been detrimental to the game. And it's not just because I'm a fan of a team that has missed some crucial field goals. I'm saying this for everybody out there. All right, that's our 4 downs. Guys, great job this season. I wanted to come on really to say thank you for a great season before the calendar turns over to 2017. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, being in charge of a college football bowl game can be a stressful job. But when that bowl game hosts one of 2 college football playoff semifinals, well, there is no room for error. I spoke about it with Peach Bowl CEO Gary Stokan when he stopped by our studio. One of 2 college football playoff semifinals is the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. And the CEO of the Peach Bowl, Gary Stokan, is here. Great to see you again, sir. Thanks for coming back to see us.
Thank you.
Okay, we know the #1 seed, Alabama. They're supposed to have a geographical advantage, but Tuscaloosa's 3 hours from Atlanta. Washington is flying 3,000 miles. Is this going to be a home game for the Tide?
Well, Alabama has, over the next year, they could play in Atlanta 5 times.
Wow.
So you got the SEC championship this year, our Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl semifinal game. We open the new $1.6 billion Mercedes-Benz Stadium next year in Atlanta with Alabama against Florida State in our Chick-fil-A kickoff game. They could play in the SEC championship next year. And then we've got our Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl January 1st, and January 8th we have the national championship game. So we're going to start charging them income tax.
Right. Double for all Tide fans, and you guys would have a pretty penny there. Many believe that Alabama's going to cruise. Why should we be, focusing in on Washington? Do you think they'll give them a game?
Well, I really believe so. I've seen Washington play. They play awfully hard, #1. Chris Peterson, when he prepares for bowl games, is highly successful, #2. #3, their scoring offense, they're #4 in the country in scoring offense. They're #10 in total defense, and they're #1 in turnover margin. Alabama obviously is #1 in scoring defense, but Washington's #4 in scoring offense. So they say great fights are made in matchups. I think this is a wonderful matchup.
We can all hope for that. Let's play this out, though, moving forward. Where do you think this is going in terms of the college football playoff? What do you think we can expect now in 2017 and beyond?
I think they'll stay with 4. You know, they have a contract through 2025.
You think we'll stay with 4 through 2025?
I really do. They have a contract through that period. ESPN has paid $7.3 billion for that 12-year contract. I don't think you want to move toward the way basketball has gone. Basketball moved to 69 teams, and it really hurt the regular season. It also hurt their conference tournaments, whereas college football is now second to only the NFL in fan avidity. And the reason it is because the regular season matters so much, and now the playoffs matter so much. So we really have a nice setup, and I don't think we want to mess with that to go to 8, because you go to 8, team 9 and 10 is going to have a problem. You go to 16, team 17, 18 is going to have a problem. And the other thing is these kids are only 18, 19, 20 years old. You don't want to play an NFL schedule. They just physically can't do it. And then lastly, the presidents don't want to go into the second semester with the football season.
Yeah. Personally, you've raised a lot of money for the city of Atlanta. Through what foundation is it?
Well, we have 2 things. One is economic impact wise.
Yeah.
You know, this will have about a $40 to $50 million economic impact, which translates to about $4 million in the city coffers.
Oh, wow.
But secondly, we're the #1 bowl game in charitable and scholarship donations. Since 2002, we've given $21 million back to our city and to charities and scholarship. We have a program that endowed scholarships in 23 universities throughout the country.
Yeah.
And we link that back to the inner city high schools.
Oh, wow.
Where the inner city high school kids, we put an academic coach in each of those 11 high schools to help those kids get their GPA up so they can graduate high school, which is a big problem in inner cities now. No one in their family has gone to college or graduated. Now they can go to college, #1, hopefully go for free at some point, and secondly, graduate so when they can come back in the community and they can tell those other kids in that high school, hey, I sat where you sat 4 years ago, and I didn't think I was going to college, but here I am. I graduated and I work for company XYZ, and now the self-fulfilling prophecy happens, and so these kids start to believe that, hey, I can do it too if he did it or she did it, and that's something we're awfully proud of to give back to the community, because Hey, in 1985, the Peach Bowl almost went out of business. And if for not the fans who bought the tickets, where we sold out 19 straight years, we're sold out this year, and for the community interest of the corporations like the Chick-fil-A's, the Coca-Colas, the Deltas, et cetera, to buy the tickets and to buy the sponsorships, we wouldn't be in business right now. So it's impinged upon us and our mission to give back.
You've built this into something so much more than football. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Well, one of the two teams that will face off in this year's Peach Bowl is the Alabama Crimson Tide, of course. Legendary quarterback Joe Namath called Tuscaloosa home from 1962 to 1964 when he was Bama's field general playing under Bear Bryant. Recently, we caught up with the famed Bama alum and Super Bowl III MVP who had a message for this year's squad as they head into the playoff.
I'm one of the Alabama fans, man, that's thankful for the way the people at that university, and especially in recent history, Coach Saban and his guys have done so many good things for we fans to be joyful. I'm just thankful for the way they go about the game, the effort they give, the discipline and the poise that they keep. Now, you know, most things start at the top, whatever business it is. Our athletic directors, they've been great, but Coach Saban, the way he goes about things, he's passionate. He's got a lot of love in him, though. He's dealing with youngsters that he's taken away from their homes and promised those parents he's going to make them men. He's going to make them responsible men. And for the most part, 99+% they are. And I'm just thankful that they have succeeded the way they have since Coach Nick's been there and even before that. So just thank you, Tide. Keep on rolling.
There's something kind of awesome about hearing Joe Namath say, "Roll Tide." Okay, it's time for our SI Now full-on feature countdown to the new year in no particular order of greatness because, well, we like them all. He may be just a teenager, but Mulba Carr has lived about 3 lifetimes. His current role is playing running back for the Houston Cougars, but that doesn't begin to paint the complete picture. At number 1 on our countdown, here's the story of Mulba Carr, the refugee running back. Before he knew football, he knew war. Before he carried an entire high school to victory, he needed someone to champion him. For Mulba Carr, football has given him more than just a game to play.
From the time he, got to Reagan High School, he's always set his sights on playing college football, and I think he's been reasonably confident that he could do it.
His junior year, we played a game against a district opponent who we had not beaten in 5 or 6 years. We needed to beat that group to go to the playoffs. We ended up beating them. Mulba had 6 touchdowns. That was the real turning point for him midway through his junior year.
Getting a college degree is his first priority. Playing football is the way he gets it paid for. But he understands the way to make a change for his life, for his family's life, for generations to come, is to get a college degree.
Reagan High School is smack in the middle of football country, Austin, Texas. The home of the storied Raiders had fallen on hard times. Head coach Keith Carey would be the voice of change, and Buddy Dryden an agent of hope.
Reagan went through some hard times. The school became classified as underperforming, and that gave kids an opportunity that wanted to go to other schools. Of course, the athletic teams didn't do well during those years, just for no other reason, because they lacked the numbers.
I was at another program that was nearby, just on the other side of I-35, and the history of Austin is very much that there's one side of the tracks and there's the other side. It was very different than the school that I was working at the time, from a socioeconomic standpoint.
When I first met Coach Carey, he spoke at a FCA banquet. He talked about wanting to make a positive influence in these kids' lives. Honestly, I didn't have a conscious thought. I just went and met him when it was over and said, if there's anything I can do to help. I went to school there, be glad to pitch in.
Raiders on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Raiders.
I went to a track meeting. It was a practice middle school track meeting. It was the day that I met Mulba. His coach at the time came up to me and said, hey, you need to watch this kid run a 200-meter dash. And I watched, and of course it was pretty darn impressive.
My middle school coach came up to me, you know what, it's an opportunity for you and it's an opportunity for him, so you should go try it out. So it was bad, but bring out the best for me, so.
He was kind of quiet. Always smiling and friendly, but not real outgoing. But, you know, all you had to do was look at him and see he was made of the right stuff to be a good athlete.
Mulbacar rushed for over 1,600 yards and 20 touchdowns his junior year, and Division I coaches took notice.
We knew there was a really good running back at Austin Reagan High School and started watching video of him and said, hey, this is a kid from a talent standpoint that we need to start recruiting.
I took him to 2 or 3 football camps. I took him on a visit to University of Nebraska, Iowa State, TCU, and Houston, of course.
Buddy and coach, they very help. And they told me, don't worry, we'll make sure your son be something. I was okay.
In 1989, Charles Taylor, a military man, staged a coup. An all-out civil war resulted, lasting for 7 years and reigniting in 1999, leaving hundreds of thousands of Liberians dead or displaced. And the worst was still to come.
All I knew is that he was a refugee, but I didn't know any of the details about the time he spent homeless on the streets, you know, begging for food, sleeping in vacant houses.
What was the refugee camp like?
Break houses, people are still building houses for people who are coming in. My mom used to do a market, sell stuff.
Liberian refugees by the thousands flooded into the United States. Mulba and his family were among the fortunate ones, arriving safely in America. When you came to Texas, did you get any help or were you all alone?
I got help from Charity those that brought. They helped us for 6 months. And after that, they left all on our own.
I had to grow up pretty fast, so I chose that path, and it helped me out become like what I am right now.
His experiences in Africa and then his living environment once he got to Austin was rough, and for him to be able to handle his business and not only just become a good football player, but a really good leader for his team and a good student, obviously that screams of mental toughness.
Excellence brings expectations, and for Mulba, living up to those expectations brings an opportunity to change his family's future.
He's going to be able to come back to this community and change lives of kids who believe they can be the next Mulba. And so I think that there is a lot of pressure on him, and I think that as difficult as it is for him to bear that, he does it because that's the kind of kid he is.
It's internal pressure. He wants to make the people that love him proud, and that's a good kind of pressure to have.
In May, Mulba became a U.S. citizen, realizing the true American dream. But it would not have been accomplished without the help of a friend.
A blessing we never expected. You know, I was in Houston last week, and Mulba took me around and introduced me to his teammates and told them this is my dad, and that made it all worthwhile.
Postma takes the snap, hands it off again. Mulbacar, he'll walk into the end zone, his first collegiate touchdown. Touchdown, Houston. 7 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the first half.
If he does all the right things, if everything breaks right for Mulba, is a professional career in football an option?
When you look at him as an 18-year-old freshman, you say if that kid sticks around a while and embraces our culture, he's going to have a chance to play at the next level.
Buddy and I talk all the time about how, you know, something happened to Mulba and he's going to have to overcome adversity. And it's like, you know, no problem, right? He was doing that a whole long time ago. So I have no doubt that anything is going to get in his way.
Just knowing how far he's come, knowing his character, his work ethic, to get from where he is to now, to the next level would be a short, easy trip compared to the one he's already been on.
It's time for SI Now's Weekend Drive presented by Toyota. Let's go places. This week we're highlighting the most anticipated bowl games of the season. We'll start in Glendale, Arizona with Ohio State facing off against Clemson. How can the Buckeyes contain Heisman finalist Deshaun Watson? Here is Ohio State defensive end Sam Hubbard.
I think we have a big challenge in the fact that he gets the ball out so quick and he's really accurate, and we got to find ways to win quick and get to him and affect him because he's such a great player. And they obviously have a great running game too. We got an all-around challenge, and we're just in the beginning stages of preparing for that.
They'll need to keep the pressure on Watson, who tallied 37 passing touchdowns this season, good enough for 5th in the nation. Next, we head to Pasadena, California for the Rose Bowl. 2 storied programs are set to do battle in the Coliseum. The Nittany Lions are coming off their 4th Big Ten championship in school history and just missed the college football playoff, but head coach James Franklin is excited about the opportunity in front of his team.
I think it's fair and obvious to say that our guys and myself and everybody would love to have been part of the 4. But again, there was cameras in there live when we made the announcement, and didn't make the playoffs, and we're going to be going to the Rose Bowl. There's excitement about that. We've had a wonderful season. There's been a lot of really good things happen. There's been tremendous growth from the beginning of the season to the end, and we're playing a good football team.
USC currently owns the series lead at 5-4 and have won the last 2 meetings. Lastly, we head south to Atlanta to see Washington try to dethrone top-ranked Alabama. This is the 3rd time these 2 teams will be meeting on the gridiron, and Huskies head coach Chris Peterson is excited to see how his team stacks up against the nation's best.
There's no weaknesses, but that's okay. I mean, it's going to challenge us to be at our best and see, what we look like when we're at our best and where we are in our evolution of playing against the best.
Crimson Tide head coach Nick Saban already has won 5 national championships in his career. 1 more will tie him with Alabama coaching legend Bear Bryant. And that's what's in store for this weekend. And that's going to do it for this Friday edition of SI Now. We'll see you back here on Monday when Randall Cunningham, Derek Brooks, and Archie Manning all make appearances on the show. But until then, stick with SI.com for all your latest news. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.